That work for you?
All set.
Wonderful. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate it. And our last power hour of the year. It's hard to believe that we're already getting deep into May here. Our session today is going to be on Envision It, another career-connected curricular resources. So our goal today is really help provide you with a lot of resources and things like that you can use to actively implement in the classroom, whether it be at the end of this year or as we're moving ahead into next year. So just kind of get started real quick, just to kind of gauge how we're going to do this. If you don't mind dropping in the chat on a scale of 0 to 5, 0 meaning this would be a totally new thing to you, no level of comfort whatsoever, totally in for the ride. 5 meaning you're a black belt expert, you feel very confident, you've done this for a while, and you could present on this if you needed to. What's your level of comfort in regards to finding and implementing career-connected curricular resources in the classroom? What's your level of comfort with finding and implemented career-connected curricular resources, things that tie the lessons and activities we're doing to the real world that kids hear so much about? All right, got 2 to 3. You can drop a 0 to 5 in there. 3, 4. All right, good. So it sounds like some of you know what's going on. That'll help me kind of gauge where we're going to go. So I know a lot of you are probably, given your level of comfort, you are familiar with Ohio Means Jobs. I know some of you were also here to previous session. So, but I just want to take a quick minute to touch on Ohio Means Jobs as a whole before we start actually getting into some of the finer details about some actual resources and things like that we can use to get started today. So the big thing with Ohio Means Jobs, again, just at a quick glance, because I know a lot of you are familiar with about this, is Ohio Means Jobs is a one-stop shop for job seekers and employers in Ohio. The big four that comprise Ohio Means Jobs are the Ohio Means Jobs offices in Ohio, and then Monster.com, who does a lot of the back end kind of software for it, as well as IOP. IOP handles a lot of their software and things like that. And then OHID. And if you have not heard about this, again, I just wanted to give you kind of a quick heads up that Ohio Means Jobs is migrating to using our OHIDs as a password of how to get into the actual your profile moving forward. Okay. So if there's a couple of big takeaways you're looking for today that are going to maybe directly impact you if you use Ohio Means Jobs with your students. If your students already have an Ohio Means Jobs account, not going to lose their account or anything like that, but it is going to ask them to migrate their account to an OHID account. And how to do that is actually right on the front page. Future students moving forward will not have a separate Ohio Means Jobs account. So if you got freshmen or you got new kids coming in next year, they would actually access Ohio Means Jobs and be able to save all their work in their profile. Remember, it used to be called My Backpack, but it's called My Profile. They'll be able to actually access their profile through an OHID. Okay. Oh, now, Valley, I see that. Yeah, happens to. Valley, I'm going to be honest with you, even on tape. Not that I guess I wouldn't be honest with you if I wasn't on tape, but I will say this on record. I too had trepidation about this. You can see from Lisa's expression that she too had some trepidation. We both trepidated together, I guess. And I did go to a training about this from Ohio Means Jobs. I went to a meeting, a bit of a training, and they talked about this. And the reason they're moving it over did kind of win me over a little bit. One of the reasons was they did not want Ohio Means Jobs to be viewed as just a thing that people did in high school. Because a lot of our students, they may have associated Ohio Means Jobs with that high school thing. Or conversely, I think what they found is a lot of students, their Ohio Means Jobs accounts were tied to a school email, right? Furthermore, the OHID is going to provide a lot more security for their account. And this way, this will be the account they have in their adult life when they go to navigate jobs and the job market using the website, should they choose to do so. And yet, Lisa's point, a lot of them are afraid of the unknown. First year, hopefully it'll start to make sense. but I will say that rationale did kind of soothe the burn a little bit for me, knowing that a lot of students did have the their accounts tied to their school emails. It made it more difficult for them to access it later. They couldn't remember their password and things like that. So the idea is if they get an OHID high school, maybe even junior high, depending, they'll be able to carry that with them then throughout their life, and they'll be able to access, resources from the state of Ohio that way. Again, it is different. You all know me, I don't get compensated to toe the company line in that regard, Oh yeah, seeing school results. I believe there is going to be stuff coming forward next year about how you can still access that. Lisa, you're nodding your head. Is that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be reports available to the district administrators through your own OHID accounts. You'll have your own little OMJ icon that will get you to reports. So be on the lookout for training. I'm sure there'll be some training yet this summer or early in the fall for that.
And that'll be through your OEDS, your STARS account. So you'll have to talk, your STARS account, doing it that way. You'll be able to access it that way. So yeah, so stay tuned. But again, the big thing is I want to make you aware of that. And that, at least that was the rationale behind why they did it, which again made it a little more palatable for me. A lot of you are familiar with a lot of the tools on here. When the students first create my profile, again, it used to be called my backpack. It's not anymore. It's now called a profile. Your career cluster inventory, your career exploration roadmap is a little bit of a newer one. The work values assessment. If you haven't been on Ohio Means Jobs in a while or had students have been on there in a while, the work values assessment is really neat. And the resume builder. But again, I'm going to show you in a minute something that maybe not as directly familiar with. And that's the occupational search tool. For my imaginary money in this, right? To me, I believe the occupational search tool is probably one of the most powerful resources that we have as educators to be aware of. And what I like about the Ohio Means Jobs tool, or the occupational search tool, Ohio Means Jobs, is it allows users to search and filter through possible career choices by industry, by education, keyword, salary range, and there's no registered account necessary. So if the students or the parents don't want to create an OHID, okay, they don't have to do that to use the occupational search tool. And the occupational search tool displays information about career choice by work activity, skills, work keys, the knowledge you need, the pay you can expect nationally and in Ohio, education you need. It even talks about like the personality traits, technology, and more. So I want to show you how to do this. On the screen here as well, you'll see I've actually walked you through how to find the occupational search because it can be a little bit tricky if you are not familiar with how the site is organized now. So once you go to ohiomeansjobs.com, okay, here's the site. And again, at the top here, we talked about the OHID. There's a little banner at the top, learn more. This little learn more will talk to you about using the OHID and how to migrate over to that. But what you're going to do to find the occupational search, and this is a great tool, a great resource that you can integrate into, I would argue, most any classroom, any lesson, is if you go to the For Students tab at the top of the page, and then click on Learn About Career Types in the left column, and then go to Top Tools. So again, what you're going to do is you're going to go to For Students. Okay. Up here, you got for job seekers, for employers, for students. Then you're going to go to Learn About Career Types. That's right over here. There's all your different choices, things like that. Okay. So the left column, learn about career types. Learn about career types is right here. Now notice again, I'm doing this from the top. Learn about career types. It's going to be a lot easier to access it this way. Students, learn about career types. And they come down to the top tools here. And here's your occupational search. Okay. Notice my profile up here in the top right-hand corner, I am not logged in. Now, when you use this occupational search, I put on your slide here for you, my highest recommendation is to do the keyword search based on potential job considerations for the student to see a variety of related considerations. So you can see, you can search by industry, education search, keyword search. Personally, I really think the keyword search is the best way to go about this. Now, again, the job, they can, don't get me wrong, they can search by industry, and you can see if all your industries listed here. They can search by the amount of education you need. Like they say, they don't want to go to college. You don't want any post-secondary training. Okay, that's fine. Here's jobs you can get, just high school diploma. Let them look. But I think what students find the most value in is you let them do a keyword search and just let them go. Okay, so what's a job that some of your students maybe are interested in? That would it be a fantasy job, a real job? And Lisa, do you mind dropping the link to the PowerPoint in there one more time for me? Thank you. First one in wins, so type something in. What's a job that your students are looking for? I want to show you how this works, this keyword search, what it'll do for you. A park ranger. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to keyword search. Okay, they got park naturalist. I don't even know if that's what that is or not, because you notice it did when I typed in park ranger. Oh, wait, look at that. You get park naturalist, park attendant, or parking attendant. Sorry, or parking enforcement worker. I'm going to type in park ranger. I'm not sure if a park naturalist, if that's exactly what that is or not. There you go. What's going to happen? 29 careers that might be a good keyword match for a park ranger. So let's see, I got first line supervisor of entertainment and recreation workers, except for gambling services. You're fine, it's all good. You got a control and valve installer, a police or sheriff patrol officer, property real estate community association manager, general operation manager. And if you scroll down this list, here you got your park naturalist as well. You'll know fire or forest fire inspector. You're getting a wide variety of things here. Not all of them are directly related to parks. Civil engineer, technologist, and technician. Does anyone know why or how all these different jobs come up under park ranger? Any ideas? We've got a wide variety of stuff here. Landscaping, parking attendant, fish and game warden, coin vending, amusement machine service repairer, service and repair. What they find is that people who take the personality test, when you take the personality tests, these are all the different jobs. Oh yeah, they're in the same career clusters. A lot of these, exactly. Some of these are the same career clusters. And sometimes the personality types of being a park ranger match these jobs. Now over here on the right-hand side, you can see it's sort by in demand first. Okay. You can go highest salary, lowest salary. Students usually want to go highest salary. And they say chief executive. I don't know what that is, but it makes a lot of money. And it gives you this whole breakdown. Okay. And you can tie this into Envision it too. For those of you wondering, don't worry, we'll be getting to the Envision. This is all going to tie together. So this tells you the chief executive, they determine the directions of companies and things like that. They say, no, I want to do something outside. Where's a park naturalist? And what this does is this gives you the work activities a park naturalist does. Gives you a little description up here. They plan, develop, and conduct programs to inform the public of historical, natural, and scientific features of parks. Sounds like what I know a park ranger does. Here's the work activities they do. Here's the skills they need, the work key scores, abilities that they need. And you'll notice when I click each of these, it'll give them to you individually. The knowledge base you need. Sometimes they have a career video, sometimes not. There's not one for park ranger right now. Pay, employment trends, education, personality, especially when we write IEPs. We love our behavior goals, right? You need to have cooperation, self-control, concern for others, integrity, dependability, adaptability, flexibility. These are things we can work on in our social emotional learning. Tools you'll use, all those tools. And technology you might use. Over here on the right, if you click view all, it'll give it to you all on one page. This could be a lot, right? This could be a lot. So just what you can do then is once you go to view all, you can do the details, or you can do a summary, and it just gives you the high points. If that's still too much, click off of view all. And you can just go through them when you refresh it by section. Okay. You can email this, you can print it, but this is a really neat opportunity because what this occupational search does is it allows you to come in, and from here, the students can play. The students can look around. And now here's the other thing. I don't know about all of you, but if I write transition plans or even graduation plans, and this kid says they want to be a park ranger, I don't know much about that. So how am I going to coordinate services and activities around being a park ranger if I don't know what it is? Let the students learn. Let them present to us about what some of this stuff does or what these jobs do. And again, to find that, come to the top for students. On the left-hand column, learn about career types. And then usually it's right in your top, well, it's in your top tools, occupation search. No account needed. They can come in and play. And again, even if they just want to know, if I'm only going to get a high school diploma, what jobs are out there? Here's 433 of them, sorted by in demand first. Let them look around, let them explore. Sometimes kids just want to get on the computer and mess around, right? Have them go look up some jobs and stuff first. Any questions on this occupational search, how to find it? I really value this because, again, we're going to get into Envision It in a minute. And this is a nice way for students to go look up jobs as well. Obviously, there's other tools like the ONET, but this is a really powerful tool that we can use to help supplement some of the stuff we're doing with Envision It. Okay. And again, they don't need an account. They can just jump in on this and play. How are you? Oh, good. Our guest speakers here. We'll be getting you in a little bit. I'll let you get all settled in over there, my friend.
Sounds
right.
good.
Good deal. The other thing is the OMJ Interview Center. And I know some of you maybe are familiar with the Interview Center from when Ohio Means Jobs first started. Again, this is another interactive tool that has grown exponentially since OMJ started back in the day. And what this is, it's a fun and easy way to learn about, practice, and fine-tune interview skills with a powerful combination of video tutorials, as well as virtual interview practice opportunities. Now, I will tell you, if they want to save the work they're doing in the Interview Center, they do have to create the My Profile through their OMJ account, which will now go through OHID. But what I wanted to show you here is if you go to the Ohio Means Jobs Interview Center, and across the top now, you'll have Learn, Practice, My Videos, and the User Guide. Now, if you click on Learn, this is what might be new to a lot of you, that if you haven't been to this in a while. Back in the day, it was just kind of like an interactive site. Now they actually have lessons. Look at this, interview playbooks. 170 different lessons to choose from, friends. 170 new graduates, people with disabilities, neurodiversity. Look at this. And you get a curriculum, and you can see it over here on the
In
right.
this section of our Mastery Track curriculum, we've created separate playbooks for the most common interview challenges that we see with our interview coaching clients and big interview users. We created these playbooks because we know.
And Pam Billings, if you don't know, she usually runs all of these. She's absolutely phenomenal. But here's a whole curriculum, and you'll see the lessons here on the right-hand side. Part 1 is 10 minutes, part 2 is 20 minutes. These are things we can integrate into a class. So if you're going to be looking at doing something like creating a whole separate class, or maybe every Friday do things with Envision It, for example, or if you're looking to build a whole, whether it be a daily class, again, weekly or whatever, these are some things you can start to put in. You can individualize this stuff as well. Mastering nonverbal communication, overcoming nerves. We know a lot of our students on the spectrum sometimes suffer from anxiety. Okay. Well, why do you want to work here question? Again, you meet one person with autism, you meet one person with autism. But oftentimes you get very direct answers to that. And the common response when you ask someone, or any of our students really, why do you want to work here? What do they say? Money. Right? There's more to it than that. There's more nuance to that question. Behavioral basics. So again, if you have students who are on the spectrum who really need some specified interview training, this is a really neat opportunity. Disabilities. Here's a whole list of courses of video tutorials. They can do these individually. You can do these as a group, just depending on what's appropriate. For new graduates, LGBTQ. Wow, I mangled that. LGBTQ. And then you get some other stuff, ESL. Look at this one down here. For people who are introverted. I'm not doing this just to keep playing the music, I promise. But here is some modules for students or adults who are too introverted and have a very hard time coming out of their shell. Right? Really cool opportunities on these interview playbooks. And again, the link is right here, slide. And this is under Learn. This is the interview playbooks. You got job search curriculum.
This is the first in our series of
With different lessons about networking and using LinkedIn. This last one, I love this. Online presence and portfolios. When I used to teach at the college in the evenings with my college students, I would actually have job coaches come in and they would ask people their names and then Google them right in front of the class and say, here's what I found about you. Oh, look, here's your social media profile with you holding a big bottle of alcohol or whatever as your profile picture. You want to change that. Also, in this section, if you go to is the practice, again from here. If you go to practice, you can do practice interviews. You can do them by industry, by competency, by admissions, for government jobs. 80% of them are here. You can save your sets of interviews. You can do them by industry, by competency again. And then I like this because you got standard, challenging, and tough. Not surprisingly, our friend Pam Billings, she's the tough one in the top 10. And the way this interview center works, and again, let's just go to the top. Let's just go to the top 10 questions. Let's just go standard. You'll notice a little screen pops up here. It's asking me if my webcam is on. It's not, I'm not giving permission to access my webcam because I don't want to have some crazy feedback loop. But what will happen is you press play.
Tell me about yourself.
Okay, tell me about yourself. Then if you enable the webcam, you can hit record and practice, have the students practice answering this question, and it will record them and they can play it back to see how they answered. Are they doing a lot of ums, or doing this, or doing this, or doing the, you know, whatever they're doing. It gives you tips on how to walk through this question. And you can go to the next one.
Why are you interested in this position?
Again, give you some tips. But this is nice because it allows the students to videotape what they're doing and save it. Now, full disclosure, and perhaps I just say this because I work with kids with behavioral disabilities and challenges for 10 years. They may do stupid stuff on the camera the first time. Well, for you, you're really stupid, or, you know, kids, don't bounce them out of this great opportunity because they're going to be idiots. Those of us that took foreign languages back in the day when you had the old foreign language dictionary, sometimes the first thing we did when we got the foreign dictionary is like, look up all the words we're not supposed to know, right? Kids are kids. But teach them to use this as an option to practice. And again, this is something you can integrate into a course that you want to build, or again, if you just want to do like functional Fridays or something like that. If they create the profile, it will save their videos here for them. Here's what's also nice. Here's a user guide. So for our teachers, you can download this user guide for free, and it'll help walk through how to do training courses on this. Really neat stuff here. Also, at the very top of the Learn, there's a fast track with 16 video lessons, or there's a mastery track with 60 video lessons. And if you look on the right here, you know, they're digestible, you know, 6 to 10 minutes on average. Or if you want to do a full curriculum, you can do this mastery track, which has considerably more. You can build a curriculum of this. I know that one of the biggest challenges we struggle with is resources. Keep in mind, everything on the Interview Center is free. So the Envision a curriculum, which we're going to show you in a minute, is free. All this stuff is free to you, free to use. Okay. Any questions on the Interview Center, or anybody have experience with using that they want to share before we move forward? A lot of neat stuff on here, so I hope you'll take some time to look at it and think how you can do some of this stuff. All right. One of the quick things I want to just touch on again is the career connections. With the career connections, remember the career connections, it's a practical way for teachers and school counselors and families and community members really to show students as early as in kindergarten the types of careers possible to them. So when we're looking about implementing things like Envision It, we're looking at maybe developing, whether it be standalone lessons or perhaps a whole course about career connections, career awareness, building life skills, whatever you want to call it. Career connections is a nice way for us as educators to kind of frame and parse out the work. In grades K to 5, we can start building career awareness. Someday you will have a job doing something. Grades 6 to 8, we should do career exploration. That's when, especially those of you that work with 6th to 8th graders, I implore you, do the occupation search with them. Let them just get in there and dig around. Let them look up scuba divers, professional wrestlers, rappers, YouTubers, Twitchers, tweeters, whatever they want to do, okay? Let them look that stuff up and start having those conversations to explore what that would entail. Because you can make money being a YouTuber. Maybe not a ton, be a side hustle, who knows? But let them start exploring what that entails. Do they know how to use video technology, things like that? That way, when they get to high school, 9 to 12, they can do career planning. we can start to plan their first career. And a lot of you that have been with Lisa and I other trainings probably know the answer to this question, but for those of you that do not, does anyone know how, in fact, I want all of you to do is real quick in the chat. I want you to type in a number. How many jobs does the average adult entering the workforce today have by the time they retire? How many different careers, how many different jobs as an adult do they have from the time they enter the workforce this year? Our graduates right now, how many jobs will they have by the time they retire? Go ahead and drop a number in the chat for me. 10, 8, 20, 21, sorry, 14, 7. Lisa, do you remember the number? You want to?
I think Valley was the closest. It's somewhere between 15 and 17.
Between 15 and 17 different jobs. Now, when we think about the educational terms, the old 30 and out, I remember that. But sorry, too close to home, sorry. But that would mean like every 2 to 3 years tops, different job. You know, on average, when you think about that, right? A lot of us as educators, we go to school to get into school, to work in a school. And then we do our 30, 35 years, whatever, you know, and go. And we might move around, but we're still educators, still teachers, maybe become an administrator or something like that. So I bring this up for this reason. When we talk about career planning with our 9th to 12th graders, we're not talking about what are you going to do for the rest of your life. This is not old school, stereotypical communist Russia. You get a job when you leave high school and that's a job you get forever. What's your first job? What do you want to do? How do you want to enter the workforce? Okay. And if you want to have different experiences, that's fine. But what are you going to do first to be sustainable, to pay your bills, things like that? There is a link here on the slide for you to this Career Connections framework. Do your peers know about this? Are you using this approach in school when we talk about jobs with our students? And again, we've talked about Career Connections in other presentations. I don't want to get too deep into that. But there are a couple of Career Connections resources real quick. The career pathways, I know we've shown these, I believe, in some previous presentations over the years. These are visual snapshots of potential job pathways and career progressions. We are looking into if they're going to start to update some of these because we're getting a bit older. Let's go to our friend, the park ranger. I don't know if that would be more like natural resources or urban forestry. I'm going to go natural resources. All right. Lisa agrees. That's I'll take. She's the brains of the operation. So this gives you an example of what the career trajectory would look like for this. And the reason I bring this up in this context is, for example, when we're looking at jobs, maybe they would want to do something like be a pipeline operator. I don't know, just fun. What's a pipeline operator do? Well, they make $42,000 a year. Then if you go to petroleum engineer, they get $109,000 a year. Can any of you tell me what a pipeline operator does? Besides, like, I just picture like turning like a big metal steering wheel on a pipe or something. I mean, honestly, I'm not being funny. I don't know. I have no idea. But what we can do, let's go back to our friend, the occupational search. Type in pipeline operator and start to dig around again, right? Start to explore. Let the kids find out what a pipeline operator does. Find out if that's an in-demand job or not. Got about 6,000 tabs open up here, so it might take a second. But we can do that with our keyword search and then go through, and the students can learn about it. Quite frankly, we can learn about it this way a little bit too. I'll bring that window open in a second because it's moving slow because I got all these tabs open and I got my camera open and everything else. But this is a nice way to go through and help students determine, like, what do they do? What is this? Using these career pathways as options, okay? openspace.infoohio.org, another really good resource. You can search by subject, education level, standard, to find career-connected lesson plans here. This is just a large clearinghouse of career-connected lessons that you can find in here. Pipeline operator still searching. Also, the Success in the New Economy video, Kevin Fleming. You know, we brought him in before, we're bringing him in again. Again, we talk about implementation. I encourage all of you to show this video at freshman orientation. Okay. Again, Lisa, we all know she's the brains here. She's agreeing with me. This is a very powerful video. The 2015 version is 9 minutes. There's a 2018 version that's, I think, 2 minutes longer. But what it talks about is things like the 1-to-7 ratio, and it debunks the college for all mentality. Okay, it debunks the fact that it debunks the myth that everyone has to go to college. That's not true. The economy will not support everyone going to college. Okay, there's a 1-to-7 ratio. Talk about this in the video. There's a little 9-minute animated video. For every one job in the economy that you need a post-bachelor's degree, master's, doctorate, there's like 2 jobs, 2, that you need a bachelor's degree, and there's 7 jobs that you only need an associate's or post-high school certificate of training. And it's been like that since the 1930s. It's going to be like that into the 2030s, at least. We don't have to drive everyone necessarily to college. There's a litany of other options out there of how to be successful in the economy. The other thing the video talks about is how a great plumber makes more money than a bad lawyer. Right? Very good video, very well worth your time. Again, the links here for you. So as we move into the next part of this with our wonderful guest speaker in just a moment here, probably about 3 moments, let's be honest. Considerations for using this Career Connections framework and then using some of these other resources we talked about today before we get to envision it. Remember that Career Connections is not a curriculum, but a framework through which the curriculum can and should be viewed. We want to implement real world relevance in regards to our standards-based lessons. If we can connect what we're teaching based on the standards, 1 time a semester in each of our 4 core content areas, so your English, math, science, social studies. If you can do 1 career-connected lesson a semester, students will get 8 career-connected lessons a year to prepare them for life after high school. And the impact of this can become exponential. Hence my little fancy graphic here. I saved the fanciest graphic at the end of the year. Because what you can do is then you can take those same lessons that you did, keep them, and then make 8 more career connected lessons. And the following year, you have 16. And if they got 24, 32, next thing you know, you're still teaching the standards, but you're just finding ways to connect it to real world relevancy. And relevancy is the #1 contributing factor to students dropping out of school, especially our students with disabilities, which we all know is now measured on our report cards, our school report card, our special improvements. Some stuff to think about. But now for the main event. You've been so patient as I've shown you some other resources. We're talking about Envision It. Now, for those of you not familiar with Envision It, this is a free, evidence-based, standards-aligned college career advising for the needs of your students. There's teacher resources on here. There's getting started guides, all kinds of cool stuff. available to help implement a course. The goal of Envision It is to give you a free curriculum to implement a course. You can implement it many different ways. It was created and designed by the Ohio State University, Niswonger Center, with accessibility and universal design for learning in mind. I think it's highly customizable. Some of the resources, if you want to access some of the resources here, there's a Google Drive. This Google Drive will take you to some of the different resources. I'm going to show you more about that in a moment. Okay. Oops, I mean to go that far backwards. All right. You can tell it's after school, friends. I apologize. On the Envision It page, it's where you can get access to the Google Drive. All the materials are stored there for free. On this main page, if you have Schoology, you can also go through and access it through Schoology. This is the Google Drive link. All the resources are tucked away in these different folders. You got your teacher resources, you got the full curriculum. You have an abbreviated course models. These are more specifically designed with students with disabilities in mind and learning challenges. There's also a binder. And the binder, which is called Enhancing IEP Post-Secondary Transition Goals, and Envision It Curriculum Training Manual. This can be found under the teacher resources. It's called a curriculum training manual. If you click this link in the picture here, you can get a copy of it as well. You can print this, you can access it digitally. This is a link to the full manual. And then this is a link to every chapter. And again, our amazing, magnanimous guest speaker in a moment is going to talk about her experiences with this. Oh, this training manual. Yeah, look at that. There it is, Diane. Someone amazing must have helped you get that back in the day, huh? That's right. I think too, if what Anna is talking to you about here in a minute is cool to you, I might have some extra binders. So if you like what you're about to see, you get a hold of me. I have some of these printed out already. We can get you some. Here's your full binder here. It goes through everything. You can just print it off yourself, or again, I might have some for you. But that being said, my friend, do you want me to be the Vanna White and share the screen for you, or do you want to share your own screen? What works better for you?
Oh, I can just share my screen.
All right.
Once I hit the button, then I'm on, right?
I think so. But you want to go introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, who you are, and what you got going on here for us today?
Oh, yeah, we'll keep the screen up. My name is Annalisa Williams. I am the vocational instructor at Perrysburg Schools. I started off as an intervention specialist, and I was literally hired at Perrysburg to help with transition. It was the weakest area, have A's and everything on the report card and have a C in transition. And it was just like, what the heck are we doing and how do we do this? So like everything, it started off as a special ed initiative. And I sat in some professional developments with Aaron, and he was speaking about the Envision It curriculum about 4 years ago. And I liked that there was a curriculum that was set up that I could adapt. So I downloaded it and began adapting it to Perrysburg's needs. Now we have a semester course called Career Prep, and it is Envision It fit for Perrysburg schools. So not only do our special ed kids get it, any student that would like to take the course can take it. It's just a half credit elective. So right now we have about probably 100 students a year go through, and that's just because of my scheduling. So it's called Career Prep. So I'm going to show you the essence of the course. The students, they create a career portfolio, and you're going to look at this and be like, "Ooh, that's a little high." But right now I have kids in the class with 120 IQs and probably 50 IQs. So we just keep adapting it and helping. Now I teach my paras and train my paras how to do that. The easiest way to do this is through using Google Drive and teaching your kids how to use Google Drive. That is the absolute easiest way because everything is saved and everything can be adapted. So let me share my screen.
And her presentation is linked in the PowerPoint as well, but Okay, can you be, did Lisa make you co-host? Can you be Shareful?
My desktop. Okay, sorry, I'm not, all right.
Good,
Okay, so you guys can see my. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to show you the essentially the teacher version. I push this to my kids and I like prompt them, but this is our entire semester. And all it is the Envision It curriculum. I boiled it down to the most important things, and really I boiled it down to hit the weaknesses of Perrysburg schools. So you can adapt this, but from the Envision It curriculum that Aaron just showed you, this is what I created. So we're on the cusp. Actually, it's funny you're talking about Ohio Means Jobs. On Thursday, the kids are going to share this portfolio in a mock job interview. So on Thursdays, our big mock job interview, and there'll be 100 kids that go through that. So right now we'll have 22 employers come in, and this is what they're going to see. So we just do a little title page, like real generic. Do I click? Oh, here we go. I just created a table of contents, and then I link everything for the kids because I don't want to get too bogged down on like the tech piece of this, because it can get kind of tech heavy and the kids get like, oh, I don't know how to do that. And you're like teaching a lot of tech. So when you push this to them, just have everything linked. So first thing we do is a VARC questionnaire, and that will be prompted to you by Envision It. I think it's the second unit in Envision It, but I like to start with that first, so they know their preferred learning styles. And then we connect this to like public speaking. So then in the course that we'll teach like how to give a good presentation, and the first presentations they do are group presentations based on their learning style. They need to describe their learning style. So the slide is very simple, but the actual self-assessment is through Envision It.
And everything
then-
you're showing, here, just clarify, is directly from that binder, that
Yes,
digital
yes.
version on Google. So these are
Yes,
just pulled, these are the end results of every unit that you're doing.
Yeah,
Right.
I just took the most important things, because sometimes the Envision It, like, it's like how to do research on the internet. Well, the kids, I mean, you can instruct them, but they don't really need to how to do research on the internet or how to broaden or narrow their search. They don't really need like a test on that. You can just talk about that as you're teaching. So then we have, this one I threw in just because I like Ohio Means Jobs. This is their personal budget predictor. So before you can pick like a profession, you need to know how you live. So this is on Ohio Means Jobs, and it has you pick like how many kids you want, what car you want to drive, where do you want to live. And so like that's kind of nice, because then you can naturally talk about like gross and net salary out of there. And then I have all the kids take a screenshot, and then these were my results. So we talk about like part of being fulfilled, you do need to make enough money to sustain your lifestyle. And if like the job that you choose is like $40,000 less than what your lifestyle is, you're never going to be satisfied, because there's always going to be that gap. So we begin to talk about things like that. Now, if you have if you have kids with like disabilities who are going to live in a group home, obviously we have them do this, but we don't go too far into their budget and things like that when they're on Social Security, because their guardian will probably always be in charge of that. So you just know the kids that you're talking to. And then Perrysburg Schools supports U Science. And so each kid takes a test, but these terms that describe me are, and every kid has a different terms, they get spit out. These are the actual words that we put on their resume. And then these are the words, these would be like, we talk about hard and soft skills. These would be their soft skills that they can put on their resume. These are also their soft skills that they put on their cover letter and what they're going to talk about in their interviews. So they'll incorporate that. And why we talk about that is we talk about this as like the professional language of your strengths. And then naturally, we're going to use this verbiage and we're going to match it to their career choices. So that's something new that I added this year, because U Science is a paid subscription, and that was just something specific to Perrysburg Schools, but that is not in Envision It. And then in Envision It, they talk a little bit about executive skills, which we don't talk about a lot. But you take like a little 7-minute test or quiz, self-assessment, and you have your strongest skills and your weakest skills. And then the kids can like look up and read what that means And that was just something else that's a self-assessment because a lot of them don't know what their strengths are. And so we're always getting at, what are you naturally good at? What is your God-given ability? Because everybody has that. And that is the first objective of the course, is to find what you are naturally good at. And then the ONET is, I think it's section 3, because I switched the sections around, but this is an online self-assessment. It's really easy. Like, do I like to do this? Do I not like to do this? This is Holland's Code. Holland's Code is a research-based, if you're talking to parents, you're gonna say Holland's Code. So this is like a social, I need to pick a job in the social realm. And then this is just a screenshot of the results. And then this is also a screenshot of what that means. Because a lot of times the kids get these results and we don't take the time to dive into what it actually means for them. So it's very individualized of what it means for you. And you don't have to pick like my scores. A lot of the kids have scores that are like 14, 17. And to know that when they're close like that, you're going to have some flexibility when you're looking. And I was looking at, when Erin was showing you guys the Ohami's jobs, there was jobs based on Holland's Code. So the Holland's Code is very universal and it's nice to use. So like you can see, it says take a screenshot of the results. That's just a note to the kids. And if I have kids that can't take a screenshot, I take a screenshot for them and just walk them through it. It's very nice. This is like all of your transition plans in one shot. So the kids in my class that have disabilities, if they need information, I literally share this with their intervention specialist, and it's everything. It's everything that they need. And then we have the
real quick, Elise, if you mind going back for one quick second. Could you talk a bit more about what this looks like for students with disabilities, how you do like the interest like when you said you dive deeper and you spend some time with them on this, I really appreciate that. Can you touch a little bit more on like, what do you mean by you spend a little more time with them about getting to dive deep into what it means to be social or artistic or investigative?
Okay. So, and a lot of it comes with, everybody that has students that have disabilities, the hardest part is to get them like active, volunteering, and knowing what they're good at. And that is going to be like, you want to start talking about what they do in their day-to-day lives, even with their parents, or what clubs they're involved in or whatever. And then you're going to begin to match it to your profile results. Oh, okay. If you like that, okay, then you're a social person. If you volunteer with the volleyball club, you're the manager of the volleyball team. Okay, great. Why do you love that so much? Oh, because I love being with people. Okay, so now I know I love being with people. I'm not going to pick a job that I sit in a sheltered workshop by myself. If I do not work with people, I'm never going to be satisfied. So now you just always narrow it down. Oh, I love to build things. I'm like the realistic learner. I'm hands-on. If it's not real to me, I could care less about it. Okay, so let's only look at those jobs. And so, because there's like a million jobs to look at and people ask you, what do you want to do when you grow up? And it's just a crazy question and it's not unattainable. So we take it and we break it down into smaller and smaller pieces. And we can say that this is a special ed initiative. All kids need this. Every single kid in your high school desperately needs this. And then, because at least then we can say, we've done our part. I've given you every opportunity, and what you do outside of these walls, you can't ever say I was never taught that or I wasn't given an opportunity for that. So this is the ONET. This is the big career research section. This is one of the sections that takes the longest amount of time and the most amount of time. Students often, they don't understand how to sit down and do research. And that's when you have to really dissect and start to look at what you're talented and gifted in, what Holland's Code says, what your exact skills were, and everything should, what was your learning style? Everything should mesh together. Is that okay? Are we good?
Yes, ma'am. Perfect. Thank you.
And then you have your job zones. So what ONET does, it's like an algorithm. It matches the Holland's Code with what you want, what education that you would like. And so because I'm a teacher, I put my job zone 4 high prep needed. And we talk about like, sometimes your job is going to force you into your education, like being a teacher. I have no choice than to get a bachelor's degree. And so we talk about that. So then you're hitting on their strengths, you're hitting on what they want, what they're great at, and then the education level that they want. And then it'll spit out their career choices. And this is all from the same site, from Envision It. And we just kind of ripped your skills, abilities, personality, education, and job outlook. We talk a lot about job outlook. That's a real waste of your time to go after a job like a librarian right now. And I hate to say that, sorry if you're a librarian, but librarians aren't, in 2030, there's going to be like, I don't know, 1,000 of them in the nation. And what is your outlook of that? So we talk a lot about job outlook with the kids and having a sustainable job. And so they choose, and like, if you have a kid that's like, I don't know, like, I just want to work with people, we go general. I put customer service in there. If they want to do retail, put retail in there. You don't have to put like a specific like dog trainer. You don't have to do that. I use customer service for a lot of things. And just, I like to work with people. I'm friendly. You don't have to put Walmart greeter, like customer service. And then like Erin said, it's going to give them that flexibility to ebb and flow with their 15 to 17 jobs that they're going to have. One thing that we do, and if a student with students who struggle learning, we usually just do one career choice. But if you can, it's nice to do 2, because people without a backup plan panic. And we don't want to produce people who panic when plan A doesn't go right. Because how many people your plan A didn't go right and you had to go to plan B, C, D, E. So we do choose 2 career choices and then we break them down. Some of my students, like if I would modify this, I would just put 1 career choice. But if an LD student, like a student with fetal alcohol syndrome, yeah, you need 2 choices. What do you foresee yourself here? Yep. And then we talk about post-secondary education options. And this is just a unit in Envision It. And it gives you your options. And we talk a lot about, we show success in the new economy, but we talk a lot about college isn't the end all be all. We also explain that anything that you do after high school requires training. Anything that you do. So if they're like, well, I'm not going to school. Well, if you get a certificate, if you get on the job training, that is education and that is training. So we do a couple things like average net price. We go to Penna Career Center. If people are going to Penna, they put average net price 0. And okay, great. And then title of your degree, retail, it could be CDL, truck driver, or whatever it is. And then important facts that interest you, or why you would be interested in that. Now, if a student is gonna only get, I shouldn't say only, but get on the job training, then we would just put that in there, on the job training, and we would only put 1 choice. Like if I know a student's gonna be with a job coach forever, we're gonna put on the job training, Perrysburg Schools, cost 0, title of degree, on the job training. I just put things in there. Important facts. Okay, why do you want to do that? Oh, because I'm a kinesthetic learner. Remember when I said I was a kinesthetic learner? Okay, and then you're going to put on there a kinesthetic learner. And then we do, now this, if you're a teacher, this is what gets me a really high marking on my OTES. So this is why you want to put that on there for your kids, because it's the higher order thinking of the SMART goals. Now this is through Envision It, but it's very difficult for the kids and it requires some teaching prior because the goal setting is very hard. I give them like a list of action steps that they can choose from, but we take a couple days and talk about what a SMART goal is. So they're going to do, I put employment and education. They're going to throw everything into 1. I used to do 2. That was way too confusing. 1 SMART goal for career choice 1. Here are my action steps. Now for the kids, you're going to have, now the action steps, that's your transition plan. Honestly, I'm just making a transition plan for every kid that comes through my class. That's all we're doing. And then for career choice 2, you're going to do the same thing. If they only have career choice 1, I delete slide 2 and they only have 1. That's it. And I give them a lot of examples for the action steps, and they really struggle with this section of goal setting because we all do. And then we do applications. Now, applications on Envision It, I adapted these to be all Google Forms. Now, if a student really struggles on the computer, we'll print it out for them. But this is the 5 applications you're going to need to know how to fill out before age of 18 or by age 18. And if they can't fill it out independently, that's absolutely fine. I do print out like a state ID card for them, and they can just copy their information. I have students that their teacher said they couldn't use the computer and they could copy their state ID onto an application absolutely fine, as long as I just got it for them. Like
And
I
what
just
you're referring to there is they take their information from their ID card and they plug that into their job
Mhm.
application, their bank
Yep.
application.
Yep. And so I have modified of all of these, but the banking is super simple. It's a credit card application. 18-year-olds are the #1 to get targeted. So if you have a kid that's cognitively low, it's 18 years old, that does not have guardianship, they can open their own credit card. And if they put an X on their name, that is a signature. So they need to understand some of that stuff if they're able. And then the housing, we talk about, you don't want to live in your parents' house for the rest of your life. I mean, some people do, and if you do, great. But if you're going into a dorm room, or if you're going to move out with some buddies, like you're going to need to fill out housing. And then medical, when you're 18, you don't go to a pediatric doctor anymore. You go to an adult doctor, and you're expected to fill out your paperwork for that. The job application is the longest. The schooling application, I did put a personal essay in there. I have some of the kids skip that. Like if they're like, I would never go to community college. Okay, you can skip that part, or I give you a separate application, but they at least need to know what schooling they're at. Like, what high school are you at? What's happening? I mean, have you ever moved? What's your address? Who's your emergency contact? You could ask them those couple questions on a form once a week, every single week. That's information they're going to have to know, or copy it, or have it in the wallet and be able to copy it. And you can say on your transition plan, I'm working on applications. I'm working on job applications, because that's going to be on every single one. And then our resume, I just linked, these are screenshots of mine. I teach explicitly the kids how to do this. I give them the exact format to use. And then the resume here is linked, and all of theirs is linked on there. And then cover letter is kind of an offshoot lesson, because you don't always need a cover letter, but it's nice to give the kids a format for it, because a cover letter is a pain in the butt. So we do this for like a day and a half. Like, hey, you're going to need this sometimes, only when the job description calls for it, not all the time. And then I teach them, once you have the outline, all you have to do is edit. And the same thing with the resume. Now, if they're going to be an art major and they want a really fancy, or they're going to be like digital photography or graphic design, and they want an awesome resume, then they can do that after I teach you the basics. But for most of us, we're going to need a professional resume, and every person needs a resume. So I have a student this year that doesn't write. He signs ASL kind of, and he uses LAMP, and we made him a resume. And he's going to do a mock job interview on Thursday. So we're just let's do this. And obviously though, he's never going to need a cover letter. If the student is never going to need a cover letter, don't even go there. And then our mock job interview, I have them write a reflection. We're going to run out of time this year, but based on the feedback, from the people interviewing, they're going to put their strengths and then an area of improvement. And then at the end, they write a little, because on the Ohio Means Jobs readiness seal, it's required that you have written and oral communication skills. So we have them do a short essay. If students struggle with essays, I give them an outline, and they just use their portfolio to fill in their essay. And then the final portion of the course is to present your career portfolio verbally. So then that would culminate all of that. And then,
I
go
don't
ahead.
want to lose what you just said about the Ohio Means Job readiness seal as well. Are you implying that that's also that you tie that into some of the work you're doing here?
Yeah, so students have the opportunity, because, have the opportunity, you can't force them. But yeah, if you do all of this, you should be able to pretty easily get the seal. One of the first things we teach in the semester is what is a mentor and how do you build your personal brand. So what is a mentor? And then the mentorship obviously goes into your 3 references, and then your readiness seal should be really easy to get.
And I think that's powerful too, because a lot of times, one of the things we hear is that our students with disabilities, it's very difficult to help them earn a state seal such as the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal, but using the Envision It curriculum, just following through those units, you pick up a lot of those skills as you go and can support them in doing that. Is that correct? That your experience?
Yep. Yep. And if a student can't, like on the rubric of the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal, if they don't qualify for it, it's okay not to get it. Like we have a lot of the students get the community service seal, which is 120 hours of volunteering. And they do that within their like classrooms. They go out and they volunteer, and it's tied into the math curriculum, the social studies curriculum, and the science curriculum. And so they can still get a community service seal. Like for students who are really low. I mean, some students just don't qualify for the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal.
Okay.
And then that's it. That's the culmination of the program, really, of Envision It. And then of our portfolio as well.
We call this power hour for a reason, even though we go 90 minutes, we power through. But any questions for Lisa, just big picture about using this? Well, I think in that too, I did put a link in the chat because, as I mentioned, financial literacy. ODE has a wonderful webpage with tons of elementary and secondary financial literacy curricular resources on there. But Diane, do you have a question? Sorry.
Yeah, how much change have you seen in the Envision It program from when it first came out to now? Have you seen any real changes in it?
No, I haven't seen a lot of changes. That's why it's a nice foundation that you can build and you can modify how you see fit.
Yeah, when we first got it, we went through Schoology. I can't even pronounce it.
Schoology, yeah.
Schoology. And I want to get into the Google Drive version of it, and I'm having some issues, lining them up. And so I really enjoy it.
So what I did, because it can be confusing with Schoology and with Google, I downloaded the curriculum on my Google Drive and left it all sit there. And then I created a new folder and copied that folder and then began to modify what I needed. From my modified resources, and I can show you what my Google Drive looks like, but from my modified resources, then I put my stuff on Schoology, because Schoology is not user-friendly and your Google Drive will never go away. So like, can I share? Oh, sweet. Okay. So if I can, all right. So if I'm in, sorry,
you want to unshare your screen for a second so you can bring it up safely?
Okay. So.
Yeah, if you just want to go to your Google Drive, you can.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, the people's faces are like right over the thing. All right. So this is what I know, it's like right where I need to be. So here, oh, good. Okay. Now you're out of the way. So this is what my Google Drive looks like. You can tell like what I opened today. So we did the big interview questions, which is based, and you can see this kid, sorry, his name's on there, but he just gave me his resume. So here's my course called Career Prep. And then, I don't think I have Envision It. So because I've modified it. Here we go. Here's Envision It as it sits. So this is the like pure Ohio State Envision It. This is the teacher resources. And then this is the full curriculum. I do not touch that because if Ohio State like pulls it down one day, I'm still going to have their curriculum. So then I have like career portfolio, Perrysburg Schools. If I click on that, this is all of my units. So like
these are based on the different chapters or the different units from the Envision It.
Yes. So there's VARC, mapping your future, researching careers, education and training, Like you can sell, here's my interview, then we'll go to career vision, then finalize your career portfolio. But this
And
is kind
just
of
as a
what it looks like.
comparison to what Annalise is talking about, when I'm looking at the Envision It link I gave you at the units, the folders, they're a map to your future, know thyself,
Mhm.
research careers, set career goals, train for your career. And what these are, and correct me if I'm wrong, is just you took those original versions and then just modified it to your students and the things you're doing and some of your own stuff that you integrate as you go and as you've done this for several years, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. But I don't want to, like, if I look in my drive in my career prep, I don't want to discard the
Right,
original
The originals.
curriculum. Because if I ever like accidentally delete something, and I've done that, like about mentorship, I've needed to grab it back and I go to my curriculum and grab it out. There's a lot of good things on mentorship and like letters and to parents and stuff like that. And it's nice because you can make a copy of it and then you can just tailor it and edit it to your school. And when I say edit it, you're thinking, oh, it's going to take 20 minutes. It takes 5 minutes. Like you edit it, like, hey, it doesn't say Envision It, it'll say Perrysburg Schools now, and it's very nice. Yep.
Yeah, our school is very small, and if I have 15 kids in a class, that's a heavy caseload for my career class that we use the Envision It with. So it's really neat to see how somebody else does it and how I can even adapt it further for our school.
Yeah, and you're not alone. There's a lot, like, I feel like sometimes the transition piece, you feel kind of alone on an island. And honestly, the Envision It curriculum is the absolute best. It is the best, but you have to remember that it was made for people online, like to do it online independently. So there's those pieces in there that you need to take out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're sifting through. But if you could, I mean, I can push like through Erin, my like portfolio, that is helpful. This is like pretty much Envision It, what the most important parts of Envision It. This is what you need. And this goes in every single transition plan of students in my class.
Yeah, and as you dig into the Envision It link, you'll notice I didn't walk you through the Envision It Google folders themselves during this training because you can just get in there and dig around. It's very, I mean, you just basically read it. You know, it's like unit 1, unit 2, here's some activities. They give you all the worksheets in there already. They give you the resources ready. They walk you through how to do it. And when you click that link, you go to the teacher resources. It's all there. The full curriculum, like Elisa said, download a copy for yourself. The abbreviated course models takes kind of some of the highlights, because not to lose what Elisa said earlier, but this started specifically for students with disabilities, correct?
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
evolved. Now it's just a course offering in Perrysburg.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Because it was a need, because
Right.
we're so weak in this. So anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
I ask, is this career prep course a semester course that you then teach?
Yep, it's a semester course.
Okay, and you repeat it twice each year, or does it have a partner class?
So I teach a career prep course and I teach a course called Job Connections. And it's basically a supported employment course for students who need volunteer experience. They need to get out in the community, and for students that could be employed, but they would only have short-term employment and that need additional training. So
Okay.
that's the Job Connections course, and that's run out of our little community center where I'm currently sitting at right now. And then I have a course called Workforce Readiness, and that is an online course for students who have independent employment and they wish to work during school. So
Those
the
make
career
sense.
prep course is like a sit down actual course that's a semester. And then we do have job training courses.
And the job training courses are open to anyone?
Mm-hmm. And we just cut it. We were having a lot of our lowest students take them, and our special ed administration just made the decision that that students that were like in self-contained courses, sorry for lack of a better word, they would have vocational training linked throughout their curriculum, because the course is only a junior senior course. So then they would get vocational training and get out in the community 9th through 12th grade. So now the course is it's for anyone, but we're picking up a lot of our students that are mental health and at risk, a lot of them, because those are the kids, for us at least, that are really falling through the cracks, and we can't have that. And they desperately need to have experiences.
We're gonna see that wave with COVID too. We've seen a lot of mental health stuff with kids coming up, and we're gonna be feeling that for a while. I don't need to speak to all of you in schools about the mental health crisis with our students right now.
Annalisa, two things. I tried to capture in chat what you had just shared with us about those additional courses.
Okay.
But then I also wanted to check, so are your students earning work-based learning hours through those additional courses?
Yeah. Yep. So through that workforce readiness, it is mandatory you get the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness seal. If you cannot obtain the seal, it's an automatic fail for the course, which is a 2-credit elective. So it's really a heavy class. And then for job connections, when we go out and have employment out in the community, it is, you get your 120 hours for your community service seal. And if you qualify, now we go against the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal rubric. If you qualify, then you can get the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal as well. So most students get both. And then we're also next year, we're going to incorporate that Rise Up, which is the industry credential, and we'll do a 12-point credential as well.
If other schools are looking at this, I think you could consider adapting it to actually have the learner agreement forms to build up those 250 hours of work-based learning as well. But the jobs readiness seal would work as that supplemental under the career experience and technical skill competency pathway as well. But really good stuff, Annalisa. I'm impressed.
Oh, good. Thanks. So we're just kind of building the plane as we go, just like every other school. We usually, like, I don't know if you guys know anything about Perrysburg schools. We usually are under a microscope a lot. So we try to fall forward and just do things before other people do them. And we're the ones that usually are like, wow, that's really good. Or, ooh, yikes, that doesn't look good. So, and this is kind of what it looks like for us. But we have our challenges. I mean, we're trying to figure out, like, we just created a deferment program for our severely handicapped students that are 18 to 22. They're going to work out of our community center. That was a new thing for next year. And we're figuring out all the seals and how to incorporate those, and really looking at it. It feels like the special ed population is always very supported. And then we have the at-risk or mental health population that really is hurting. So we're trying to really hone in on that.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you for volunteering your time to do this, as well as your very generous, in how you share this stuff, and your candor as well about some of this stuff. So I think that practical application is what people need to hear. And I really appreciate that. I'm going to see if I can bring up my screen here for a minute just to show you all real quick. But you're good, my friend. Thank you. All right. So again, this is the link I gave you here with the Envision It resources. Okay. Everything is in here to start digging into this. It does say the zero files start here. This just gives you some general handouts about what Envision It looks like and things like that. So you can talk to, just gives you the overview of everything. Okay. From here, and again, just talks about the alignment to courses. It's just a general overview if you need to pitch this to your administration. The manual is in here. Full disclosure, I did help develop this for schools with Andrew Buck. I did not develop Envision It. All right. Rather, we took a lot of this stuff and just kind of reorganized it into a binder to help create the types of curriculums that Annalisa is now using and has modified several times over. And that's one of the things I want to point out with this as well, is this manual is just meant to be a guide. This is meant to be a curriculum, but you can augment it as appropriate. Okay. You have your webinars, things like that here. Also in here, you have the full curriculum. Now, this is one of the things that, like Annalisa said, she downloads this and holds it sacred. She's probably, knowing you probably got a flash drive with this on it somewhere too, I'm guessing. So, because you don't want to lose, this is everything. If you actually modify something, you actually delete it, you back this up 4 or 5 places, you've got all the resources for everything is in here. Okay. Also, again, if you want to start a little bit smaller, they have the abbreviated course models. The abbreviated course models here talk about things like, they call it, you know, again, they've moved it from backpack to profile, but building your Humming Jobs backpack, college and career readiness, career advising for student success 1 and 2. These are all different courses. These are mini courses you can do. Okay. So this one, the career advising for students, or for student success, they just pulled out 6 units for you. If you go to financial literacy, here's 3 little units. Now, I don't want to hide the ball here on this. It is going to take some prep. It's going to take some prep, which is why specifically I'm showing you this towards, you know, towards the end of the year, because you can start to think about what this might look like for next year. You're gonna have to dig around then a little bit and just commit to this if you want to build a course. And I know, Doug, you were talking about this as well. You were asking questions about what could this course look like. And I like what you said, Annalisa, about sometimes you just gotta fall forward on this. My hope is through this presentation today, talking to you about things like the Ohio Means Jobs course work you can do. Even just having students do things like the occupational search, all those resources on the interview center, using the career connections framework to guide how you're going to use entry points to this work. You can then build a model through Envision It as you go. You may very well find that you're going to be building the plane, like Annalisa said, as you're flying a little bit on this. But maybe you dedicate every Friday to this, right? Or you just start as a semester course and you're just going to dedicate the time to helping students explore together that real world relevancy. Use things like the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness SEAL rubric. If that's what you want to have them earn and learn those skills. But again, this manual can walk you through how to go through. It's a big PDF, sorry. Here we go. It will walk you through how to frame this around even like transition for the students. And again, make no mistake, Andrew Bug did most of the work on this. I just kind of helped make it a little more teacher-friendly idea, you know. And this is the whole PDF. Sorry. Or you have it broken down by section. Okay. So what I want to encourage you to do is think about, you know, the information we presented to you today, how you can use this to help support successful post-secondary outcomes for our students. We know this is more important forever. Lisa talked about the industry recognized credential piece, for example, to rise up. That's something Lisa and I talk about a lot, even internally, and our walls touch, right? You know, we need to start thinking about how this ties into graduation as well, and you know, student preparedness. So consider like what strategies or approaches we've discussed today you can implement starting the first semester of next school year. What can we start doing to build this stuff for the students and move forward? It's not going to necessarily be perfect right away, and that's okay. I like what you said, Lisa, fall forward, right? It's okay. It can be an elective. There's a lot of ways you can do this. Lisa, are you available that if anyone wants to kind of follow up with you via email or anything like that, they can maybe ask you any questions or anything like that? Are you comfortable with that now that I put you on the spot about it?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
I'll send you 2 Starbucks gift cards instead of 1. I appreciate
All
it.
right, great.
All right, good deal. All right. So you don't mind, Lisa, you just throw your email in the chat there for everybody. And again, you can follow Lisa and I as well. Any other close, I want to honor all of your time, because I know we're after school. Any other questions, comments, concerns, deep thoughts, shallow thoughts? Okay. Put the links in here for you. Again, I know this is a lot to consider, but as we move forward with this, so again, I appreciate you taking the time to show us how you've been utilizing this, because this is what, your fourth, fifth year using it now?
Yep. Yep.
And I imagine it looks a lot different now than it did year one.
Yeah, it's looking really nice. And it's nice to show like parent teacher conferences and stuff. I mean, people just love it. It's
Yeah.
every
And the
year.
fact that, did I pick up on earlier that you kind of are turning kids away at this point almost from it a little bit because of capacity issues, or?
Oh, yeah. Yep. And it doesn't, every school has issues, and they just said right now they're not going to hire another teacher. So it's nice to put some pressure on your administration though, what are you guys going to do? You're going to continue this? You're going to cap it?
Right. Not bad for something that started for students with involved disabilities to now you have so many students in the school that want to take this class that it gets capped. So little lesson there, friends, little lesson. So again, thank you all very, very much for your time. I hope, am I still sharing or did I quit sharing? Still sharing.
You're still sharing.
Oh, good. All right, I couldn't tell. I kind of lost my screen for a second. All right. So again, Lisa and I emails here. Lisa very kindly put her email in the chat there. Thank you again all for being here. Appreciate your time. Don't be afraid to follow up with any of us. All of us, you have questions about this stuff. Be happy to talk to you more about how to implement some of this stuff. I hope this gave you a lot of food for thought. And I hope this gave you a lot of resources that you can share to move forward in implementing some of this work. Lisa and I will be here all summer. So again, if you have questions over this, towards the end of the year, we're here. Don't be afraid to reach out to us. Thank you for your time. Feel free to share the PowerPoint as well. We will have a copy of this recording if you need it, and enjoy your afternoon, everybody. Thank you. And Lisa, thank you again, my friend. Appreciate it. You can stop recording if you'd like there, Lisa.
Yes, thank you all. I really